Welcome to She Won Podcast, where we talk about women's in sports, life, and everything in between. I am your host today, Julia. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. So Julia had a little surprise episode for this one. She's got a lot of questions to ask me today, so I'm
Yes, I
here to
do.
answer.
Yes, I do. We're going to do a deep dive in your coaching career and more because you do more than just coaching. So let me get us started. I have a long intro here for you. My guest just made history. She is now the champion of the WIAC conference. Her program, the UWL Eagles, just won their first conference tournament championship ever in program history. She is not just the assistant basketball coach for UWL and recruiting coordinator. She is also an international entrepreneur, real estate investor, and media co-owner. And somehow she does all of that with grace. She is also the co-founder of A-Level Athletics, operating from Tennessee all the way to Brazil and in Wisconsin. She is building her real estate portfolio, and she has also helped co-build this very platform you're listening to right now, She Won Podcast and She Won Media. She is the definition of She Won.
Wow, that's
Welcome
kind
to
of a
the show.
cool intro.
Thank you. This is for you. This is Coach Angel Allen, y'all. Thank you for coming here today.
I'm excited to be a part of the podcast in a different way than normal.
I agree. So tell me about Friday. It was the championship game. You were playing against Oshkosh when the buzzer went off. Tell me about that. How did it feel? What was
Well,
your first thought?
okay, I'm going to talk about that, but let's rewind it. Let's talk about before how we got there. I think the week prior to arriving to the championship game was almost laid out perfectly. So we are tied with two other teams from the conference, and both teams are excellent. And we don't get the tiebreaker if we all win on Saturday, last Saturday. And so we are preparing for our game against Eau Claire, which is a great team in our conference. Every team in our conference is really good, by the way. And we're preparing for the game. We play our game at 5 p.m. and every other team in the conference, all the teams are playing at 3. So our coaching staff, minus Moran, she's not watching the game, but we're watching the other games, the games that we know are super important.
Hold on. Moran is the head coach for those of you
Yes,
who don't know.
Coach Moran Lonning is our head coach, and she does not like to worry about other teams as we're getting ready to play, obviously. So we're watching the games, and we find out that both of the teams that we're tied with lose. Both of them, and they're not supposed to lose. And there are basically our three coaching, just myself, Weston Quintana, and Deja Williams. We're all literally like, oh my gosh, like this game is huge. Because if we win this game, we lock in the number 2 seed. And mind you, guys, we haven't gotten the number 2 seed in a while. And we've only gotten the number 2 seed in the regular season 3 times in history. And so with that win on Saturday, we solidified that. That means we got to skip that Monday game. Mm-hmm. We got to go straight to the semis. Yeah. Fast forward, we get to the semifinal game on Wednesday, playing one of the top teams in the conference, and we beat them in extraordinary fashion. They play a fast-paced game, tough type of game, and they made it tough, but ultimately our players showed up in a way that is extraordinary. Mm-hmm. They played hard, they played composed, and they made shots. What can you ask? Mm-hmm. More from that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was awesome to see that win on Wednesday, and then to turn around and play the top team, not only the top team in the conference, but one of the top teams in the country. If you guys don't know, the WIAC women's basketball and the WIAC most sports in general is the best Division III conference in the country. These athletes are very, very good. And so when I tell you we played the number 1 team in the country, I'm serious. They're an excellent team coached by a great coach. And they're excellent defensively. They make everything really, really tough, and they kind of take away anything that you want to do. But we went into Oshkosh with a chip on our shoulders, being the underdogs, and we pulled off the upset in a crazy fashion.
Yeah. So during the game, I went there and I watched the game, and you guys were behind the score throughout the whole game. I believe the last 4 minutes, it was when things changed. During halftime, what was the energy when you were in the locker room and had to talk to these girls about like making adjustments so you could come back and possibly get a win over the scene? What was
Yeah.
the energy?
I think the energy was locked in, like determined. I think our players, there was no wavering energy in the locker room. Everybody was locked in about what they need to do to make those little adjustments, because I think they do a great job of talking amongst each other before we even get into the locker room. So I think they had great things in mind to adjust themselves. And
Mhm.
when we walked in, we had the adjustments that were small, things that they can do immediately, and I think they took care of business. And I think more importantly, our players didn't have a ounce of quit in them,
Mhm.
like zero. They didn't care what the score was. It didn't matter to them. It didn't matter to us. All we knew is that if we just keep pounding the rock, and I'll talk more about that, something special is going to happen. And so that's what we did.
That's cool. That's great to hear. I'm curious about on your perspective as you were on the court. You mentioned to me individually that during that part of the game, Coach Mo, she just had a baby, so she had to step out for a moment. So you and your staff, the other assistant coaches, had to take over and kind of give the explanation of what was going to happen next. Is that during that moment, were you calm? Were you nervous? How were you feeling?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I'll talk just about myself. I think I was calm. I felt prepared in the moment. And I think that's everything. If you're prepared for moments that come to you, you're going to be okay.
Mhm.
Perfection isn't necessary, but preparation is everything to me. And so I think Coach Deja had great words to give. I think Coach Wes had great words to give. Coach V had great words to give. We all did. And it's
Mhm.
because we were all prepared for the moment. And that's what it's about, being on a team. If everyone's prepared for the moment, we all can up each other's slack, and whatever means necessary.
What was the adjustment that you had to give, or I mean, the coaches had to give to the girls as they came back and actually were able to turn it around and get the upset?
That's so funny. That's an interesting question to me, because there weren't necessarily adjustments. I think they were just reminders. When you start, well, not when you start, but when you play a team from your conference, when you get to number three of the before the other two times that we played them, when you get to number three, you know a team. You know their players, you know their plays, you kind of know the tendencies, you understand what their coaches think, like you know these things. So it's not really adjustments per se, it's more like reminders, because our players, they know what to do. Like they understand what's at stake. And so sometimes, like as the game happens, it's like this. It's like a it's like a wave.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's up and sometimes you're down. And our players just need constant reminders. And I think our staff does a great job of constantly like doing that. Like, let's remind them that they can do this. Remind them that, hey, this is what's going to happen for this situation. This is going to happen for this situation. You can get through it. You know, oh, you missed a shot. It doesn't matter. Let's take another shot. Let's get ready. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
just simple reminders for our players.
That's amazing. It's great to hear about that game in a specific because during the season you played them twice and there were two losses. So to see that you guys were able to pull it off during the final game when it truly mattered is just such great work, you know, and
Hmm.
it takes a lot of mental strength to be able to do such thing, especially when throughout the whole game you were behind and you're still be able to pull it off at the very end. So congratulations on your on making history
Thank
again. You
you.
keep doing this, like you keep making history. Just want to tell you that. So now I'm gonna shift gears a little bit, and I actually would love to understand you as an assistant coach
Oh,
and the tasks, the roles, the responsibilities that goes into it. So, what does an assistant coach carry that people don't usually see?
yeah. I think assistant coaches do the behind the scenes work that nobody really knows about. That jobs that are almost like thankless, which is fine. You know what I mean? I think assistant coaches know that they have to do things that nobody pays attention to in order for a team to run properly. And not just myself, I think any coach on our staff, I think any coach all over the country knows what I mean when I say there are so many thankless jobs that have to happen. They just have to.
Mm.
Players, players need to play. Coaches need to coach. But when you're at certain levels, you look good, by the way.
Thank you.
When you're at certain levels, and this is no like hit to any program, but when you get to a top level, like coaches aren't doing, they're not going to the equipment room and getting the jerseys and the uniforms. But I do those types of things sometimes, you know what I mean? And that's okay. I think like whatever program you're at, you have to do the things that are necessary for your team to be great, even if it's small and even if no one knows. That's what coaches do every single day.
Okay. And how do you manage your ego on such a thankless job when there's a lot of things that you do, the tasks that you're responsible for, and then you don't really get the recognition? It kind of comes with the role. How do you manage your ego?
That's interesting too. For me, it's not so much about having an ego. It's about doing things for other people. I constantly remind myself that it's not about me. It's not about me. It's not about me. How can I make things easier for so and so they can play their best? How can I make things easier for so and so they don't have to think about this? You know, I think my ego doesn't really come into the picture as much, more so as not worrying about getting a thank you, you know? I think in the earlier stages of my career, I think I almost was like, how come no one's paying attention to this? How come no one's seeing this? But I understood and realized that it's not about that. It's about doing the right thing. It's about doing the things that you can for the program. And all those things, all those little wins that pile up over and over, some people even call it stacking wins. They create huge wins, massive wins. And then all of a sudden you're at a WIAC championship. You know what I mean? That's how that happens.
Yeah. I can testify for the amount of hours that you put in because I get to see it when others cannot see it. So you've been doing that for a very long time. So you have a very big pile of wins that might be invisible to others, but it's not invisible to me.
Something that I've learned, and I'll use that same term again, stacking wins doesn't have to be for anybody else. It can just be for you.
So there's even a bigger pile that is hidden that I cannot see.
Literally. But that's the thing though, like the wins don't have to be outward things for other people to see, to admire, or to put on Facebook or Instagram or whatever platform. It's really about like, what are you doing with these wins that you're stacking? How are they making you better? And when you do that, you're going to be the best version of yourself. Not just me as a coach right now, but like anything that you guys want to do, that you guys can do that. Stack wins every day. You know?
Awesome. So when you first walked into UWL as the assistant coach, what insecurities did you carry with you?
That's a tough question.
And you kind of had two stages too, because initially you first walked in and you were under a head coach and an assistant coach, and you weren't a full-time assistant coach just yet. And then you had the second phase where you were a full-time assistant coach. So I'm curious about those two stages.
Wow, you're getting into the nitty-gritty quick, huh?
Okay. Absolutely. We're not gonna waste time here. I want to know.
Yeah. I think the biggest insecurity that I held was, will I be liked as a coach? It's one of the biggest ones I had because I go to this new place with all these new people. I only knew Coach Karen and Coach Joe. Shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome.
They are.
I only really knew them. And Carly as well. She's also at UW Lacrosse. Shout out to you, Carly. But I knew them, and it was just a matter of back then I just wanted to be liked, and I didn't know the processes of just how to be as a coach. Like, what is the balance? Like, how can you make those connections and, I don't know, be liked? But I think I was wrong back then. I shouldn't have been thinking about those things. That was one of my biggest insecurities. Now, fast forward to me being a full-time assistant, I think I still had some of those insecurities, but it was different. The next insecurity was something that I think other women have faced before. Do I deserve to be here?
Like an imposter syndrome.
Do I know enough? Am I smart enough? Can I connect with them enough? Do I deserve it?
Mm-hmm.
I I struggle with that. I struggle with that, and sometimes I struggle with that today, even now. It's a constant battle. It's a constant reminder. Sometimes I think of it as a way like I can't stop getting better. I
Mm-hmm.
need to continue working hard to improve myself.
Yeah,
But I also need to remind myself that like because I'm here, this is exactly where I should be.
I agree.
You know?
I feel like this is something that people in positions of leadership um, often go through
Yeah.
at all levels in all different scales. And it's a great thing to have. It might not feel great at the moment. Obviously, we need to come back to a place where we feel confident and that
Mm-hmm.
we belong where we are. But it's good to feel that humbleness of, do I deserve to be here? I need to do better, or I need to step up to this role. So
Mm.
you can really study and get deep into it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think women, I'm going to use women for
Yeah.
this example. I think women know how important it is to have representation.
Mm-hmm.
And when they are that representation, they kind of buckle down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that the path as you continue forward is linear.
Mm-hmm.
There are ups and there are downs, and you have to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
I had down moments as a coach. I had moments where I needed to be better, and I chose to be better. I had moments where I was up and I was like, man, I'm getting pretty good at this. How can I get better? How can I get better? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think women can do that. I think that we are the people that can do that in a way that not everyone can just do that.
I agree.
I'm biased. I'm a woman. I'm a woman. But that's just my thoughts.
That makes sense. What is your biggest fear as a coach?
Mm. I wear a bracelet on my wrist and it says, exceed your expectations. I think one of my biggest fears is to have my expectations too high and I can't reach them. Can I not reach it?
Mm-hmm.
I have these goals in mind. Will I fail? So I aim lower.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I've caught myself aiming too low because I'm like, maybe I can reach that. Even though that one's really cool, it's really high, it's not impossible, but maybe it's impossible for me. So I aim lower. And that's something that I battle with. And I have to remind myself that I shouldn't aim lower. I should aim as high as possible and exceed the expectations,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that's why I have this as a reminder to myself. And I know I'm not the only one that feels like that.
So, am I right by saying then your biggest fear is to not fulfill the expectations that
Mm-hmm.
you have? Is it your expectations or is it the external expectations on you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think at this age now, I don't think I necessarily am listening to the external expectations that people may have of me. Um, I think I have more expectations for myself, more than I ever thought were possible. And I am trying to reach them, and they're high. Mm-hmm.
That's a fair answer. You mentioned about the age. And you are saying at this age, but you're not that far off from the athletes. So I'm
Yeah.
actually curious about how do you command respect going to the locker room, being such close in age with the athlete?
When you walk into a room, you have to command respect and confidence just from yourself. You know what I mean? Like you can't necessarily think about like external things. And external is players sometimes or coaches or whatever the case may be. And in those moments, you just have to believe in what you say. And you can't control what other people think. You can't control how other people act. That's not up to you. You just have to do the right thing. And you have to believe in yourself more than anybody else. You have to believe in yourself before anybody else does. And that's okay. And that's enough.
Do you prefer to be liked or respected?
I think the correct answer would be to be respected, but I'm a human and I would love to be liked. I would love that. But I think that that comes with trust and time.
The liked
Mhm.
portion of it.
Mhm. But same thing to with respect. I think it also comes with trust and time with this generation of athletes. I think the 2 and 2 go together. They really do to me. Um, but it's okay if you're not liked. If you're respected as a coach, that it is I do believe that can be enough. I do think so. But if you're both liked and respected, I think you go even farther because players are willing to do even more for you as a coach.
It's interesting that I'm mentioning time because I'm going to use an example of your as you went to Brazil to coach. So Angel, she went to Brazil to visit, check out the culture, come meet my family because I'm originally from Brazil, as I probably mentioned about 20 times in every episode.
In a with a cool accent.
And she had the opportunity to coach different boys that played basketball in Brazil. I would love for you to talk, to expand on how the experience was for you, because it was kind of like you fell on that situation. It
Yeah.
wasn't even something that you were planning at all. So, can you expand more on that?
Yeah. That was so special to me. I've never experienced coaching kids with so much joy for basketball at that time, you know. And going into it, it was just about just being connected to the community, being connected to basketball because I just love it. So it doesn't really take much for me to be in the gym. I was always that type. um, but for me, being around those boys, it was so much fun. It was a language barrier too. So okay. So back then, I did not really speak much Portuguese.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that's a very important detail that should not be missed. You were coaching them. They didn't speak English fully. They weren't fluent by any, they actually had a very basic English.
Mhm.
And you didn't speak Portuguese. Your Portuguese was also very basic, but you're still able to coach them.
Yeah, I think it came with me communicating the best way I could, learning little things every now and then from them, showing them what I mean when I say this, you know? I think that was something, and they had a willingness to learn. I I think players when you give them your time, they do see it. And I also spent so much time with them off the basketball court. Oh my gosh, coming we'd go places together. We'd have food together. Like just we'd do things outside of just playing basketball. And those are even more special. Those memories are even more special to me, you know. Uh I think that's something that I I remember why I love coaching, you know.
Mhm.
I love being around basketball, but I also love being around players. You're gonna remember the players forever. Like
Yeah.
I'll never forget those guys, you know.
Hmm.
I just won't. Um and I think it was even more special that I was able to connect with them in language didn't become a barrier. Like it wasn't a barrier.
I
I
agree.
learned that.
And then you mentioned when it came to the part where commanding respect, liked versus being respected, you did spend some time with them, but it wasn't like that much time. But you created such a strong bond with them.
Mhm.
Why? How do you think that happened? What was some of the things that were able to create that relationship?
I think trust. I think they just started to trust that I cared, you know.
Hmm.
I've heard this before. Players don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care.
That is true.
It is. I think once they knew that I cared, it didn't matter. They taught me stuff, you know?
Hmm.
They were like, "What about this? No, you got to do this." I'm like, "Okay, I can do that. I can adjust." You know what I mean? But like, just once you show a player that you really care about them more than just a basketball player, it speaks to them. It doesn't matter, you know.
Wow, you ran which I didn't mention either, you also ran a full camp in Brazil and you were able to plan that quite quickly.
Yeah.
That was cool. You got to meet one of the local coaches there and you two ran a boys camp. What are some of the differences between coaching boys versus coaching girls?
Coaching boys, I've coached boys in Brazil. I've coached boys here in the United States as well. Boys are very no nonsense. They don't ask too many questions. They just don't. The ones that I've coached over the years, they just go. They just go so hard, you know? And you almost have to be like, hey, what kind of questions do you have? Like, you have to draw it out of them because they just go so hard. Boys they're fun to coach. They just have that different intensity about them when they play. It's just different, you know? And it's fun to see them almost like communicate and talk and like things for them to click. Because they, you know, something I've noticed over the years, boys communicate, and young men, they communicate at a, I wouldn't say a higher level, but at a different level than women do that I've seen. They just talk on the basketball court all the time. All the time. And of course, not every team is the same. Not all boys are the same. They just talk. And I love that intensity that they have. Coaching girls is different too. I think, and my heart goes to women's basketball because I'm a women's basketball lover. I played. I think women, we have this tendency that we want to be perfect. I know so many women, so many young players that they will literally talk themselves out of doing something because they just want to be perfect. I think that's the difference between girls and boys. Boys don't care about that. They'll just go as hard as possible. Girls will almost knock themselves back. But I think girls basketball players are so awesome. When I watch girls, so right now I coach 2 middle school girls players. And I really enjoy doing that just because they have a different mindset. So obviously they're not college players, but they love to play basketball, you know? They go super hard. They're always listening. They're asking questions. They make mistakes and they get so down. I'm like, hey, you got to keep going. It's just you just got to keep getting better. It doesn't matter that you can't do this now. If you keep doing the little things, you're going to get there. You know what I mean? Girls basketball players, they just tend to get it. They just don't stop, you know? Girls basketball players and women's basketball players understand that if they keep moving forward, they're going to be fine, ultimately, even though they're scared to tell the world. It's scary. It is scary.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to like care what people think than our counterparts.
I agree. I think that goes throughout all women's sports.
Yeah.
Because definitely I can think in a way, it's obviously it goes in favor to the boys in some circumstances, it goes in favor to the girls in some circumstances, because a lot of times too, that makes women's players very skilled and really into the technique because we just want to do it so perfectly.
Oh my gosh, yes. I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. Women's basketball players, I'm jumping up a little bit, we're so skilled. We have to be. We know that the skill is going to take us farther than anything else.
Yeah.
And so we do it.
Unfortunately, we cannot, not all of us have the gift of just dunking a ball or jumping and touching the rim. So you really got to like dive into the footwork, for example, to be able to score and do amazing things.
Yeah, I agree.
That makes sense. Well, you are the first full-time Black assistant women's basketball coach at UW La Crosse. And I'm curious, did you feel the responsibility immediately as you got into the role?
Wow.
Or is something that grew over time?
So that role opened up for myself, not just myself, excuse me, for the women's basketball program and the men's basketball program. First time in history that there was a full-time coach for both programs. So I was fortunate enough to earn that role when Coach Moran Lonning did come into the fold as our new head coach. I think I felt the weight of responsibility, but there was a ton of uncertainty. Didn't really know as much as I do now. Uh, I did know that it was special though. That's what I did know.
Okay. Do
Hmm.
you ever feel like you represent more than just yourself?
I do. I think about that. I think about the time, like from that moment to now, the moments where I speak, and when I feel like I don't want to say something or I want to hold back, I'm reminded that there are so many women behind me, not behind me in a way, but they've already done things that they need me to talk. They need me to speak. I am representing more than just myself. I'm representing the younger generation. I'm also representing all the people before me that did all the things to be in the shoes I'm in and couldn't get here, you know? So I think about that all the time. And so I think about that and I try to make adjustments to be the best version of myself. I try. And my adjustments now are so different from my adjustments 2 seasons ago. Mhm.
Hmm. What would it have meant for you to see someone like you from the sidelines when you were coming up?
Everything. Everything. It would just have been representation that I needed. The representation that I knew that not only that I knew I could get there, but just to hear how they got there, you know? I'm always like, how did you do this? How did you do that? I'm always thinking that in my mind, but sometimes you don't want to ask that question to just anybody. Um, I do think that seeing someone like just like that would have been everything, but I had some representation over the years. Mhm. I had my head coach in college was a black woman. I had in middle school. I had a black head coach for a year, for a season. Like
Mhm.
I didn't have a ton, but I had a few over my time. In elementary school, she wasn't necessarily my coach, but she was a person that I looked up to
Mhm.
for basketball. She was a black woman, you know. I, I think back to those moments and I remind myself that I'm here because of those people. You know, I'm here because of those women. And it's really special to know that I get to represent them too.
Mhm.
They're a part of wins just like I am, you know?
Yeah. Do you ever get tired of having to be strong?
Yeah, it's tough. I think that I think that every day is going to be a battle in some type of way. And that you have to be ready to put on that armor and go and fight. You have to. And that's okay. I think I think there are days where it is harder than others, where you want to quit. I've had moments where I've wanted to quit, where I've had moments where I've questioned, like, should I be coaching basketball? Should I be here? Like, should I? You know? But I think I'm so grateful that I did not quit. I'm so grateful that I did not stop fighting. Not just for not just for a program, but just for myself. Didn't stop fighting. And I think that's a message for other people too. There will be days that are harder than others, but you just don't stop fighting. Like whatever you can do that day is enough. I've learned that too. I think we're hard on ourselves to like we have to have this standard every single day. It has to be here. But sometimes like our cup is like right here. And so this is like all we can give. Let's give what we can. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just go, just show up at your best. The next day it's going to be a little better.
Mhm.
And sometimes the next day is going to be like this too, you know?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Where do you go when you're tired of being strong?
I go to the people I love. I always do that. I go home and I retreat in a safe space. Basketball has always been a safe space for me too. Just sitting in a gym is safe. No people, no coaches, no expectations, just the basketball and the court. That's always been a safe space for me too. And I'm reminded that I need to put my phone away and get off social media. Like you have to. You need to be within yourself. You need to be thinking about things, how you can process things yourself. You also need mentors in your life that you can ask questions to. Like, there's nothing wrong with being like, I'm not getting this. Like, I struggled here, or I think I failed here. I want to hear your opinion, you know?
Mm.
I think I do all those things so much better now than I have in the past. And I think that's why my spirit is so much better because I'm doing things better for myself, knowing that if I take care of myself more, I can be better for others.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do a lot of things. You have a lot of activities going on because you do your do basketball at the college level, which is already very demanding, tough. There's a lot going on. You own A-level athletics. Started She Media, and then you also do real estate. Why did you choose that path?
Master of my own fate, captain of my own soul, Invictus. If you don't know that poem, look it up.
That is a great poem
Mm-hmm.
that you put me on. I love that one.
No, seriously, I've always had the entrepreneurial spirit, I think. Even growing up as a kid, my dad always saw it in me too. And I knew that I wanted to find ways to be successful other than just basketball because I love basketball so much and I don't want it to be my only stream of income. If I can talk about business on our podcast, I don't want it to be. I love, like, I
Actually, it's totally fine. We can talk about business because that's
perfect.
also part of you.
Perfect.
So go
Yeah.
ahead and expand on that because I think it's a great insight for people in sports in general because oftentimes um, in the sports industry, we tend to just go in that vertical and not expand because we grow up thinking, yeah, you got to focus on that thing, you got to put all you can into that thing, and then we go into the portion past being an athlete. And we could expand in other tangents, but we feel like we cannot because we just need to dedicate ourselves to this one thing. And I think it's amazing for when I come across people like you who do multiple, who are able to do it, who is able to do the sport, but is also able to do other parts of their life that they may be interested in. For you, in this case, is as an entrepreneur, but it could be arts for some people. It could be so many things. So I think it's great. I would love for you to expand on that.
For me, I I love sports. I love basketball in general, so
Mhm.
it was almost like a no-brainer to train kids. Like I already have thousands of hours of expertise in the game. I have thousands because I've done this for a long time. And so to pass that along and make a business out of it seemed to be the next best thing. But I always remembered and I always learned that if you're doing something you love, it's your passion, like you could do it for free. You could do it for free. My goal with A-level athletics is eventually I'm doing things for free. I want that so bad. I want to connect and meet and not only just meet but meet kids where they are so much. Man, I have a lot of love for the kids. Like I do. I want to meet with them where they are. And so that is my number one want
Mhm.
for A-level basketball specifically. For the other things that I do, I just have so much interest in business and the different components of business that there are. And so She One Media kind of sparked my interest to go down this path. I love real estate. It's so interesting to me.
Mhm.
It's just interesting. Has nothing to do with sport. It's just interesting to me how you can use physical properties as a wealth builder,
Yeah.
especially here in Wisconsin. It seems amazing to me to own property in Wisconsin. Seems amazing to me. A black girl from Tennessee, like having land, owning land here in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to happen. And that's why I talk about there's a path of women before, ahead, like, excuse me, not ahead of me, but the ones that did things first, that did all the right things, that couldn't do it. They didn't have the same opportunity as me. That's why I do these things too. I have to do them.
Mhm.
I have to do them because if I don't do them, the generation that's following me won't do them. They won't do them. They need to see me. They need to see me. They have to see you. They need that. They need representation because that's how they're going to get to the next level. I hope they beat it. I hope they beat me. I hope they go harder than me.
Yeah.
That's what we want, you know? But no, I just have a love for sport and business.
Yeah.
It just made sense.
It does. And in a way, all of those things overlap under your coaching position at a college level because you are responsible for multiple tasks that go beyond just what's happening on the court. If you had to put it on a percentage, how would you split between coaching on the court versus the operational versus marketing? I would say recruiting will probably fall under what? Sales? Or maybe marketing? You know, so if you had to split in between, if you had a big pie that you had to split it in between the different responsibilities, how would you just go over the biggest ones?
That's really interesting. I think it depends on the time of the season. I think recruiting is it's so hard to put things in a pie. It
I'm
is.
just saying, like, as far as the time dedicated throughout a season.
I understand. Yeah. I think for me, recruiting is like never ending. So I actually pay attention every day. Every single day, I'm thinking about recruiting.
Would you say that's like 50% of your
It's,
job?
man, I feel like that. I feel like I'm always thinking about recruiting. I'm thinking about like the certain players. I'm thinking about like adjusting our list of players. I'm thinking about where we're going. I'm thinking about who we're missing. I'm thinking about like what all these players are doing, like where they are in the recruitment process. I'm thinking about the relationships that I'm building. I'm thinking about all those things. You talked about sales and recruiting. Golly. I don't want to say that because sales sound terrible.
It does. I agree. But would you say that, like, at the end of the day, well, we can transfer, there's an overlap between what happens in the, as for you as an assistant coach and what will happen in the corporate world, for example. There's an
Yeah.
overlap with some of those responsibilities.
I think that I think I bring people to the table. I think about it like this. I bring people to the table and I recruit them to the best of my abilities, based on overlaps of what things they need and the things that we need. And if those things align, I think that's really, really what we're looking for as a program.
Mm-hmm.
I think all recruiting coordinators do that too. And I bring it to the head coach and she closes the deal, or he, whoever it is.
Mm-hmm.
They close the deal. I think it is so important for a head coach to have that
Okay.
like deal closing mentality. They have to. They have to do it.
Okay.
They have to have that connection with players. And I think I just do the other portion of the work. Other parts, that's just what I do in my program, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And other programs are different. They share things differently. They do things differently. And for me, I just spend a lot of time in recruiting. I spend a lot of time thinking about X's and O's as far as like what are we doing for scouting. I do a lot of scouting. I do a lot of like I watch a lot of film. I have a lot of conversation with coaches on our staff, just trying to figure out how we can win games. Coach Mo focuses a lot on X's and O's of what she wants to do in particular. We give ideas, and she can say yes or no to them. Essentially, she tries to fit it into our program to the best of her ability, and I think she does a great job with that, especially in a small amount of time. And that's just what I do a lot. I do that, and I do operational things, little things that are important that no one thinks about, but I just do them, you know? And that's just what it is about being a coach. You know?
Okay. Are you building for security or for freedom?
Financial freedom is the ultimate type of freedom. I think that anything that I do, I try to make the right decision so that it helps me 5 years from now. Like I hope Angel, when she's 35, says, golly, thank God I did that in my 20s, because we need that. Like, obviously, people don't want to work forever. I don't want to work forever. I want to work for free.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to make decisions now that help me in the future to do that. And it's just awesome that I get to be a coach while doing that.
Do you think ambition is intimidating to people?
Can be. Absolutely. 100 100%. You do have to be careful about what you say and how you say it, when you're on your path, whatever your path is to greatness, for your form of greatness. You've got to wait and be strategic about how you do things, how you say things, how you present things. You have to sometimes, and that's okay.
Mhm.
Not everyone needs to know, but I also think that people do need to know some things because people are your best asset. They can be the best asset for you. I heard golly, I wish I remember the coach. As a men's basketball coach, and it was after a game, and he was doing a press conference, and there was a couple of young guys as reporters, like college reporters potentially. In the press conference, he was giving them some tips, and I caught one tip that really spoke to me. And he said, all of the people that you know, all those people that are people that you can call, that you can connect, I think it's your job to connect all of them together in some way, so all of them are together. It's not just about having people, a person here, a person here, a person here, but how do all they all connect together? And I thought it was a really interesting concept. And so I'm at this point in my life where I'm trying to do those things. Like, how can all the people that I know, all the networking that I've done, how do they all connect in a way? And not just simple networking, but networking that actually makes a difference. Like, I really want to make those deeper connections.
Mhm.
And so it's really important that I see those things and start like bridging the gap between all of my networks,
Okay.
you know?
Have you ever felt like you had to dim yourself?
What do you mean?
Like you're a person who shines very bright.
Mm.
Did you ever feel like you had to dim your light to make others feel comfortable?
Yeah, I did feel like that. But I think that it was a choice that I made that I shouldn't have, you know? I think I had to, I think I've learned that I have to forgive myself for not knowing things because time was my only teacher. I didn't know that I should never dim my light. I didn't know that. I thought that I needed to sometimes so I could make others feel comfortable. But now I'm knowing more now than ever that you should just be yourself. I should just be the bright person that I am. And that it's okay if people don't like that. It's fine, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah. You're a very ambitious person. What has ambition cost you? What cost came with you being the way you are, pursuing multiple things, accomplishing different things in life?
Time with family. I think that's the biggest thing that's so hard. I think about a lot. Like, I'm a long way from Tennessee. I'm a long way from Murfreesboro. And it's hard to be away from family. It's hard not to be connected with them in person. And so that is tough.
Is this something you're in peace with it?
I don't know if I'm necessarily in peace with it. I just know that I need to find my way back.
When, well, actually, excuse me, who did you think about when you realized you're part of history? You accomplished, you had a lot of firsts in your career. And then you just accomplished another one this last Friday. Who did you think about?
A lot of people kind of came to mind just out of happiness, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought about our previous coaching staff. I thought about Coach Karen Middleton, Coach Jonelle Streed, and the small things that they taught me. And I thought about the wins and the losses and the ups and the downs from that point until now. I thought it was really special that I got here. I thought it was really special how they brought me here. So I thought about that. And I was really grateful. Really, really grateful to be in Wisconsin. And not just in Wisconsin, but to win at a high level. And I thought about those too. Yeah, they made a really big impact in my life. Hmm.
These are two amazing people because I got the chance to meet them too.
Yeah.
I thought about them too.
Hmm.
It's super cool to see that something that coaching is one of those things that don't happen immediately. It's like you're building. Right now, we are all talking about the win that happened on Friday, but it's something that has been built throughout multiple years with multiple pieces, and they kind of all connect together to the point where there's an end result, which is the win. And it's for me, I had the opportunity to see the transition between the former coaches to now the new coaching staff, which is not so new, but there's like a changing philosophy because those are two different head coaches. There's always going to be changes.
Yes.
So it was cool to see from the moment that they were here and some of the pieces that were part of their group are still part of this new group and you achieved a different result. That's cool. But they're also part of it.
No, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. I think that is something that I always admired about Coach Mo, Coach Moran Lanning. She never tried to be like, all right, goodbye. All the things that these people did, I don't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? She never did that. She always wanted to build on the legacies of others because she knew that those things that they did, they bridged gaps so she could start bridging gaps, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's so special. I think that is something she brought to this program that has forever changed the program. It has, and for the good.
Yeah.
And I admire that so much. Coach Mo and Coach Karen are two totally different people. It's so cool that I got to experience them both. I'm so grateful. Like, I'm grateful that I got to work with Coach Karen, and I'm so grateful that I get to work with Coach Mo every day. She is so different. She's different from anything I've ever seen.
Yeah,
she literally shows, she can show people that no matter what is happening in life, that you can just give a little more.
You spoke very highly about both of the head coaches you worked with. Do you want to be a head coach?
I do. I do want to be a head coach. At a certain point in my life, I wasn't sure about it. I thought I'd be assistant for life. But I do want to be a head coach. I do. I just don't know what that timing looks like for me. And I'm not worried about that timing. I'm worried about, not even worried, that's a weird term. I'm just focused on being the best assistant coach I can be right now.
What part of your life currently feels behind because of your drive?
Travel. I love traveling.
You travel with basketball, you just don't travel far enough.
Yes, I do travel quite often. Yes, I do travel quite often.
You just don't see anything, huh?
I'm too busy taking naps on the bus or looking at my scat or whatever.
You've seen so many gyms.
I've been to a lot of
you were a
basketball games.
specialist and can take people on tours in different basketball courts.
Yes, I probably could. But I love to travel. I love to be in a different country, walking through the streets, smelling the food, meeting the people. I love that. I think that is something that I just don't have time to do as a basketball coach, as much as I would love to. I love travel. It's so much fun.
That is fact. Travel is life.
Travel is life.
If I interviewed you in 10 years,
Yeah,
where would you be?
I feel like I have so many options and opportunities that I don't even know where I'd be. And I say that not with the preparation in my mind, but more so that there's so many things that I want to do. That what if they're all super? What if I'm high level? You know what I mean? What if I'm coaching and I'm doing a level and she won media and our podcast? Like, what if it's doing all the things?
You
What
could
if
be doing all those things.
what if just one is something? You know what I mean? And that's okay too, you know? I just know that 10 years from now, I'm going to be the even better coach than I am now. I just will be.
Well, let's pretend like you have a magic wand and you can pick your destination and what it's going to be from all those things that you're currently doing. There might be more. There'll probably be more things coming up because you're the type of person to always get involved in cool things. Let's say you had a magic wand. Go over what's going to be happening in 10 years from now. If all those things that you wanted to happen.
I think the only thing I can definitely say in 10 years from now, I will be somewhere where it's very warm. I've gotten used to some Wisconsin winters. I have. But y'all, take my glasses off. It is cold in Wisconsin.
I agree 100% with this.
And me being from the South, Jay being from the South, another continent.
The south of the South.
It is cold up here and it's tough. But 10 years from now, I'm going to be somewhere warm. That's for sure. No coats should be necessary, except maybe for a month. Maybe.
That would be probably Orlando. When I used to live in Orlando, I never lived in Orlando. When I used to live in Florida, I was in Fort Lauderdale, and this was December. And just going from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando felt like, oh my gosh, it's so cold in here.
That's hilarious.
It's so funny.
That's
to think about right now because my perception just changed to, I don't know how it was cold in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah. Winters in Florida aren't cold. Let me just tell you, they're not cold by any standard of whatever cold that Floridians think they have. It does not even pale in comparison.
That's a fact.
And I think I'll be okay with a 32 in Florida. I think it's going to hit a little bit different. That sun's going to hit you. It's not going to feel like 32.
I agree. Well, the summers are also brutal.
Very much so.
I think I love brutal summers.
Yeah,
I think that's the way to go.
You're crazy.
I think that's the way to go. At least you can go to the beach and get yourself refreshed.
That's wild.
Or the pool.
I don't know if I don't know about all that.
There's an AC in the gym.
There is an AC.
You won't struggle.
That's why I always chose an indoor sport, because you can never catch me outside in the heat in the summer in the summertime. No way. Catch me in a gym where there's air conditioning.
Okay, so let me just rewind back on the coaching portion real quick, because you mentioned you want to be a head coach in the future. Would you rather, this may sound crazy, do you rather win championships or change systems?
Yeah, changing systems creates those positive habits that players can hold on to, grasp onto, be better in a program, and be better out of the program, be better in life. And as time goes on, you hope to win championships when you change players like that and you change cultures like that. You hope to win a championship. So changing systems to be better, yes, I'm going to do that all day, every day, knowing that the systems that I create will hopefully build champions.
Wow. What kind of program would you build?
Program built on trust, safety, love, respect, and something that's really important to me, just knowing history. I know you're probably thinking, what?
I am. Yeah, I would love for you to expand on that.
I think it's so important to know who came before you, why they came before you, and how you got here. It's so important. Players play the game. They love basketball. They don't know who Nancy Lieberman is. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know who she is. She's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. She just is. And people don't know that name. They don't. I don't even have to go back that far. That's a long time. Sorry, Nancy Lieberman. No disrespect. Candace Parker. They don't know Candace Parker's name. People don't know that name as much as they should. You know what I mean? for me, my program will be built on that. Players need to know the history of this game. They need to know that, because it creates humility. It's not just about me. It's a greater good. It's a bigger picture. And I think once players get that, it's not just about me, it follows them in life. I really believe that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just something that I've been thinking about more and more. Not that I'm going to give players a history lesson. Golly. Nothing like that by any means, but they're going to hear names. And I want them to be intrigued and ask questions and learn. And they'll be better for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't understand where you're going unless you learn about where you came from.
That's right. That is right. And that's how you don't create the cycle of insanity. Literally, you don't create that cycle of doing the same old and expecting a different result.
If a young Black girl is watching this, and she decided she wants to lead, what truth does she need to know before she starts?
She needs to know two things. One, she needs to know that people may not follow her. And number two, and it's the most important one, that she cannot waver in that. She can't waver in that. All she has to think about is she doing the right things daily? Is she making choices that are going to help her grow as a person? Does she believe in herself before anybody else does? Man, she'll be fine. She'll be okay.
Well, thank you, Coach A. You are an extremely insightful person. And I have the opportunity still, because we are constantly talking, obviously.
You know, a podcast that we do called She Won.
And more than that, I just get to talk to you every day and pick your brain. So I hope I was able to do the justice and just give the people a little bit of what is in your mind, but we'll keep sharing our opinions and our thoughts. Thank you so much for being open to answering the questions.
I think this was so much fun. It was really great that you interviewed me, and you did a great job with the interview.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Man, I think for us, the sky's the limit.
I agree.
I can't wait to reciprocate and interview you. That sounds like fun.
I need to win something first.
You could be interesting to interview.
Maybe.
Thank you guys for being a part of this episode. This was a fun episode for us to do. If you liked what you saw, comment, share. If you want to see more of She Won podcast, check out our other episodes. We have some fun ones. And we hope to see you guys the next time we talk.
I agree. See you next time. Thank you.